holding here, we're holding Sifir Aleph, yeah? We're holding Sifir Aleph. The Nekuda is like this. The Rebbe is Mevar till now. I mean, the Sif Yud is basically, there's two in Yaram, but the Rebbe speaks about till now. We have Bizman Moshe Rabbeinu. That was the maximum of the Indian of Miliach Yisrael. The ultimate is this Galus HaKeser. So the Rebbe explains Sai, the Nesis HaKabbalah, was far a Madrege from was far a Dargen or the Kusat Meir given. Bizman, this man, the Bir and the way was Misad Meir in the Darg of Keser. And how it's expressed in the if and Bir and Itzuzas there was there. There was Kuma Hashem, Yefutze Vecha, Nusum Sanecha. The Aaron had to go to the Midbar, had to go to be Mevatel the Klippis. And even after the Bittul HaKlippis, it wasn't a Bittul HaGamri, but it's an Eifin of Yefutze Vecha. It doesn't say that there's no Vecha. There's a Vecha, but they're an Eifin of Yefutze. That means they're in a state of Bittul. There's no Espashtus in the Vecha. But they're still in a Smakim to Amenagid. Because Mitzad the Darg of Keser, however high you're going to go, there's still a Smakim to Vel. There's still a Geder of Eilam, which is in Yonid Helen Be'ester. And B'meile, and Mitzad the Geder of Eilam, there's in a Smakim for a Nigud. B'meile, there's only the Yefutze Vecha V'Nusum Sanach. Then when you go B'meish, Shlomo Melech is the Tkufa of Ashirus. Ashirus is higher than the Melech Yisrael. And that's Erin Sof Shalamayla Mishaychas L'Ishtalshalos, Chinas Atik, and Lashon HaKabbalah. And how did that express itself in the Eifin HaBirur? That there was, first of all, there was no Tnuah of Yitzia L'Makam Ha'yif. Shlomo Melech, there was no, you didn't have to go fight anyone. The Chatchila was Shalim, the Menucha B'Shalim Ha'yib Yamav. The Chatchila, there was no need, even if there was a Menagid, theoretically, but there was no Tfisa Smakim. The Menagid didn't mean anything in order that he wasn't Tfisa Smakim B'Shleima to be Machlish the Melucha in a way that he would have to go to fight it. But even more than that, it was Shalom Menucha. It means there was no Hava Min B'Chal to be Menagid, because that's Mitzad Darga B'Ein Sof Shemalim Mishaychas L'Elam is before there's no Nisan Smakim to it, before there's a concept of Elam. Mitzad that Darga, there's only Elukus, Ein Sof, the Eivish is Ein Sof, and the Zastart Ein Sof, which has no relation B'Chal to Mitzad Elam. So Mitzad that Darga, Velt is bottle. Velt doesn't exist. So therefore, B'Shleim it says Derech the way it was Mizbat B'Pashtus, that there was no Hava Min at the fight. There was no concept of nigud. You say there's a amlucha, and that's the matter of fact. He's the melech. No one even there's seheb tzich nishtana havim, and maybe we should go be menaget shleim. There's his malchus, and that's it. There's no svara fakir. That's there's only ein sof. So that's the neighbor. There is no concept of a world. Mitzad the darga ein sof shleim mishachas leishtalshus. The whole mitzvah Elam is Teira mitzvah, but there's no mitzvah of a world which is Melashon Halam Ve'ester. Mitzvah, not that the world is bottle mitzvah Shleima. There is no concept of a world. In a Sof Shalom Ma'ala Mishayches L'Ishtalshus. So then in the Sif Yud, Chesed is the Ma'ala of Madregas Asher, as is stated in Ayin Beis, that L'Asad Love is going to be B'chinas Chesed, which is the Ma'ala from the Madrega of Asher. And in Eishis Kabbalah, the Rebbe brings, the Lashon the Rebbe Rashab is that it's what's for a darge, but Meir Zayin L'Asad Love in Welt, it's Erin Sof Shenimtza Beradla. So the whole Arichas, the Rebbe is basically, the Maskana is what's the Knesh that he says Erin Sof Shenimtza Beradla. It doesn't just say Pnimius Atik. Erin Sof Shenimtza Beradla, so the Rebbe Nashvasit wants to be madgish that the Uft of L'Asad Lavi is going to be his Galos Ha'etzim. Was hat man davon? Erin Sof Shenimtza Beradla basically is that in the Erin Sof is the Iker in of Atik is Ein Sof, which is the Etzim, and Ein Sof Shenimtza Beradla is the Ein Sof Kamei Shehu Ba'atzmoseh. When we speak about the other dargas and atik, the other turation, mis'alim and misgala, that's the inside the way shaychus to the way shaychus to gilui. Mis'alim is the darg of etzem and misgala is the darg of giler. And masha'inkin nimtza, which that goes on reisha the lois yada, insaf is in reisha the lois yada. There's an eifin of nimtza, that means that their insaf is nimtza k'meishu batzmasa. But the point is that the uft of l'asad is not another darg in gilui, not another darg in the aflo of elokus. The level of godless Hashem, the level of the Ein Sof that was Nizgala till now, but Nizgala deeper Nekuda of Ein Sof, more Mufshet from Edemus, more Afshat from Edemus. If it's just another degree in Ein Sof, Azevi Shleima Le'umas Moshe Rabbeinu, which is a deeper darga of Ein Sof, a deeper darga of Blikvo, then it's on Lichol Nashiris, then it's not L'mayla Madrega Soshe. That means that there's some Chisarin in Vaset Mergam is Mash Shleima Mela. We want to say that the uft of L'Asad Lavi is Chesed is Bein Lani and Bein Lashirim, that even an Osher, which is the Tachlis Ashiros, the Rebbe Tachlis Ashiros says is the hechste certain Guluyim which are Shaykh L'Mayla is Meir was Meir in that Zman, and after we can also be Zayin Nochecher, not an Azamasert Efen Nochecher, which is a Chisarin Bizman Shleim. Why? So that the Rebbe Shabbos is Miram is that it's in Sof Shenim Tzibad Adlo, which is then it's going to be Meir the Etzem. The Etzem is not another Dargin Guluyim. It's a sug achar legani. It's another Indian ganze. That means there is kaviyochel the ilu and the aflo of Elokus, the mile of the reichkeit, let's say, of the Eibishter, his aflois, and that's ein sof of blikvol, the qualities kaviyochel the ilui of the Metzias of Ein Sof. How high and great Ein Sof is at least machshav tfisade. To the extent not that Keimar Chochma Rama V'Amukah they have Shemash Shebedayin that it's Bechlal not better as well as Zeklal. The Etzem is beyond the musik of ilui v'aflo. The Eibusher himself. The Etzem is not connected to any musik, to any type. Not a very exalted Indian. There's the Eibusher himself, him himself, which is beyond any definition, beyond any title, beyond any ilui v'shva. That's the Etzem. So that's the fact that such a shmerg when the Etzem by Shlomo is not like he's sudden in his darga. In Giluyim, when we speak about how flawless and the midas of the Eibusher, the maximum kaviyochel was ken izgalaver. That was the Ashirus in Shlomo, Ashirus Muflaga. La'asad Love is a different thing. It's Gal Etzem. It's a different story. The world's going to function the way it is inside the Etzem. That's a whole different Indian. That's the Rebbe spoken Sifyud. Now the question is, Azevi, the Rebbe, Matgaret business there. Sai was for a dargot mer given, and how it was expressed in the Eifen Bir Anitzutzes, in the Eifen Bir Amenagid. So there's the Rebbe is going to speak about Legabe, La'asad Love, B'shas, beside the fact that it's going to be this Gal Etzem La'asad Love, how is it going to affect in the Eifen Bir Anitzutzes? L'umas the way it was B'zman Shlomo. Also again in first in Eishis HaKabbalah, and then the Rebbe says Eishis very betamsis, but this is the Kudasin. The Rebbe don't hip on azay. Uvar ba Mamer da dei shlo asid loveti hamshach me primis atik in sof shvad lo, which is lemaile me hamshach shaisi b'mei shloim was it sich ufton so the lashon the Mamer is that they say yum shchagili lemati is. That's the first thing. The parshat dvarim is Bizman Shlomo Melech, he brought at the beginning of the Maimon. When he started, the first thing the Rebbe brought when he brings the quotes in Beis, the Gabi Shlomo Melech was that the ufto of Shlomo was that mitzad the Geidel Ha'er that was Meir Bizman Shlomo, so Nizbaru the Nitzutzes Harachekim B'Yesef. He's the Mashal Derech Hanabuka that Yazeh the Teva Advarim is that a Nitzutz, which is Eish, a Nitzutz Shel Eish, is the Teva Meshicha to the Makar Eish, to Hanabuka. But if you have a small fire, a small lav, so it's only Meishach Nitzutzes that are still the nekudas ha'eisha behem, the element of fire is still bechizuk. So they're drawn to the lav. Masha'egen nitzutzes shenisrach kol legam. Nitzutzes that were already dimmed. So that you need an abukah gdela b'yeser to revive or to bring out the harala element of eish that's there. So the parsha of the Dvarim is every nivra shabbasim the nimshal. Every nivra shabbalim has a nitzalaki. Has they say parshas has the zekavana lekis in every nimtza shabbalim. Every mitzvah has the possibility that you can use it out for the sake of the Eibishter. That's the mitzvah kedusha which every single nivra possesses. Every single nivra possesses a nitzalaki. But you have nivraim that the fact that there's a shadius to use it for the Eibishter is more begilu, is more bizgalus. Lechem tsar and mayim lachet. So it's davar bar that it's not for the sake of hana. It's just in order to keep a person strong. So the fact that you can use it l'shem shamayim, let's say, the nitzalaki is more bizgalus. But you have dvarim that the nitzos nisrach kol legamri, or the way he brings it in the Mamer. You have ummos and goyim and malchus, which are bechlal. The fact that they have shachas to lakus is bis almost mochletes. And it's the goydel that was Meir Bizman Shlomo at this pearl event even on the nitzos nisrach kol beyes. But he says, but still, even Bizman Shlomo they weren't able to reach the tachtin beyes. Let's say to read. The Rebbe is not speaking about the eif in this shlav, not the eif in the way the velt is battle legamri b'mishleim. The shaila is. The Erin Sof, mitzad vasi votnes battle gebar, because that merig ben chinas atik. Erin Sof shemal meshachas leishtashlus. The shaila is, so if you have let's say an pnimi, let's say by an Indian mugbal, so he's only able to be mayor in a place that is a keli for it, a seichel. So seichel could always nirgash in the maya, or the lave, let's say, is a keli for seichel. But if a lower evarim, let's say, if a person understands that something is right, it's pale on his mayach, let's say. Hachlata to go according to the way he understood is right. It's ladaf can be mashpi on his leib. If a person has an eis gedel the hearts, so his maskona should be mayach can have a shpa on his leib. But it should affect his evarim. The Alter Rebbe says that the mayach is too muvdal from being mashpi on the evarim. The evrei ayad are not kalim to the eir mayach. So if you have an eir mugbal, let's mitzad eir tzach shmam shachas leishtasha is known as in the stock in the belt. But with Zman Shlomo Melech, you want that in Elam Hazis on this battle very menagdim. The Helam V'Esther Elam should be in this battle. Why was the Helam V'Esther in this battle B'Zman Shlomo? Because that Merigin Eir Tzach Shmam shachas leishtasha. But the world is a keli to itself. That's you bring the other prat. That in a book of G'dayla, Ein Sof is not mugbal. So mitzad Ein Sof, there's no hagbala where he could be made. It's another point. And that's where the Rebbe starts off over here. You understand the meaning? We're not, the mile of La'aseh of the Rebbe Hiftan Reidin is not in the Eichos Bittul HaMenagid. That's not what we're discussing. Because the Bittul HaMenagid is b'muchlat mitzad Zman Shlomo. The question is, in order for the vel to be taken away, that there's no nisin asmakim to hepech halukus, no nisin zlang the Helam V'Esther, that's mitzad Ein Sof. But in order but the vel is tachnish keli to halukus. Let's see if it's meir hasagas halukus. So if it's Meir Hasagas Elokus, also a person which is Baim is Meir, God Hashem and his Mayach, also will be in his battle, the Svaris in Seichel to be Menagid. But in order for Hasagas Elokus to be a Meir, you have to be a Keli. Your Mayach has to be a Keli to be able to grasp Hasagas Elokus. The uft of Ein Sof is Ein Sof. Ein Sof has no limits. B'meila, there's no Akbala where he's Nimsha. He's Nimsa B'kol Makim. Leisa Sarponim in it. Uftu is, but even we're talking about there is Akbala vuar ken sich yeher and vuar ken sich nicht yeher. That's and the uft of Las Lovim said this Galas Etzem. The Etzem is Amitis Abligvol, which reaches everywhere. Everywhere as a Sheikh is the Etzem. Now we'll see. You heard the meaning. There's the first point. The Rebbe didn't go into. The Rebbe brought the mashal of that book. This prat, the Rebbe was ma'ilech more in the Mamer, how the Eifin bittel amenagid mitzat Ein Sof shemal mishach l'shtashlos. Since mitzat Ein Sof there's no nissin smakim to Welt, so Welt is bottled gamri legabe Ein Sof. But the shayla is Ein Sof shemal mishach l'shtashlos existed in there was always Ein Sof even before Zman Shleim. But the Welt was still a menagid in Elam Hazeh because this wasn't made in Welt. And now there's another question: how was that made in Welt? How was that how is that effect that the world should be in a state behessen to that the pashtos, in order for you have a hashpa, in order for the tachten to be function according to the inyan, it has to be a keli to the inyan. So that Rebbe done ma'irich in this matter so much. This Rebbe just brings the mashal in the Siv Zayin. Rebbe brings the mashal of Habuka G'dayla that the stronger the Habuka is, the stronger its effect is. Means even in Tzudish and Israch Kolagamri, he's able to touch this. Since the air is not limited, so he reaches everywhere, even a tachten, even a mitzias, which mitzad it has no edelkeit in itself. It's not a keli telikos. Even so, it's blikvol this air. It's blikvol, so there's no definition of where it's nimshach. The same way it's a mitzvah ein sof. So it doesn't have a definition that it's only they say the mashal. Just to use the not as a mayach this man, but just use the mashal nefesh adam. Seichel is only a mayach is a keli to seichel. Let's say the leiv is not a keli to seichel, or the regel is not a keli to seichel. The foot can verstehen. It can gain. The foot is a keli for the keich halicha. Now, keich haseichel is a much more edeler keich. That the regel is not a keli to seichel. Levush haratzin, but ratzin is when a person wants something. The ratzin is nirgash ba'ali varim b'shabbat. It's not nirgash mainly in the mayach or mainly in the leiv. Ratzin is the klolos hanefesh is nimshach. Ratzin is not an er prati of the nefesh. If it's a davar prati, so it has a specific place. It has its what type of thing it is, and it's only shaykhis to a certain place in the guf. Only the mayach which has the tchunis, which makes it a keli to say. Ratzin is a pshitas nefesh being nimshach. If it's a pshitas nefesh, it can be nirgash everywhere. The more the inyan is not mugbal, the more it doesn't have this limit that it's only able to be nimshach on a kabel that has a shaykhis to it. It's ein seif. If it's ein seif, it doesn't have the akbal of makim.
It's not even of a kabel.
Good. It's not an even of kabbalah primis, but it's meir. It's able to affect everywhere. It doesn't need bittul.
Isn't the Torah they bar also? It's a shlita.
Say that's in the marsh. I'm just bringing out the Kodesh Avdugma that the more something is not mukbal, the more there's no hakbala, not only in its muhus, but where it reaches, where it's able to be nirgash. Something which is davar prati is only able to be nirgash in a if and a keli, which is similar to it, which is a makabel for it. Mashek and Ratzin doesn't have the hakbala that is only able to be in meir and a aver, which is b'doime. Nothing's a dugma to the Ratzin, because every aver is davar prati and Ratzin's a keach klali. But because it's a keach klali, so he's b'shava, but he's b'shava everywhere. Nish das ret in the I'm just trying to bring out. But the Rebbe starts off speaking about the mile of Asad Lavi is in this prat. The Rebbe doesn't discuss Bardichas the Eifin how mitzad ein sof is mitzvah kol makom. That's ret in Nish da. I'm saying the Rebbe brings the marshal of the Abukah. The Rebbe doesn't discuss what's the pshat that ein sof is leisas upon him. Steht noch Sidus and there's a Richtz noch Sidus about it that mitzad ein sof. The Alter says in Tanya that the musig of that he only is able to be in a place that suits him. That's a musig of Akbala. In bleak vol, the shaykhs is Amisar Tagdar. Whether we understand it or not, but in a dover which is bleak vol is not shaykh to say that he's only able to be present on a darga of bleak vol. He's not able to be in vol. He's ain't safe. If he's ain't safe, he's everywhere, and his inyan is able to affect everywhere.
You know, if it's premium.
Not an Eifin Pnimi. What does Eifin Pnimi mean? In a way that the Tachton understands it. It's not chazach. He can be an Eifin Pnimi because he's ain't safe, not because the Tachton is be'erech.
Why if I understood it that way?
No, but that's not. I just said this just to understand the Hemshech Advarim here. The Rebbe doesn't discuss this in this manner. I mean, that's in Latzvah. And the in a separate thing. I'm just bringing out the point. We'll see what's negate to the Hemshech. I'm just trying to bring out what the first thing that it brings. But I read this in you before. When they were speaking about the mile of Shlomo over Moshe Rabbeinu, we didn't discuss that Moshe Rabbeinu with the only nitzutzes krevim. The Rebbe read this. When we start speaking, when they get to the uft of Lasid Lavi, the first thing that was bashtei the uftu. Of the mile of the fact that Midas Gal Etzem is, I say, Yum Shechagile Lemata Yosef. That's new in you. We'll see how it relates to this in you. So first he brings an Eishes Kabbalah. Isa Beitz Chayim. B'Shabali es Amachos Yesh Zayin Madrigas. B'Mei Shlomo Heisa Madriga Avav. Ulo Asla V'Teya Madriga Zayin. In Lashon HaKabbalah, basically in every part of there's the Esses Firis. Cholis, you have Chabad, Chagas, Nehiyah Malchus. But the Etzem, in every single part of you have all the 10 tenuas of the Esses Firis you have in every single part of. You have the Meichen Sheba Malchus, Midas Sheba Malchus. So everything that happens in this Elam is totally on in the Eifin, the way Malchus Lamaila is Nisbar. The way Malchus is affected by the Gilui, that's the Eifin, the way Lamata is going to be affected by the Gilui. So the Lashon HaKabbalah stated in its Chaim that the Aliyah Bizman Shlomo was till the Madrega Avav. The Aliyah, the Izgalus of Lukus and Malchus was till the Pchina Avav of Sfiras HaMalchus. That means till Pchina Sayisedu of Sfiras HaMalchus. Mashiach in Malchus, in the lowest darga of Malchus, Pchina Azayid, there was no Gilui Lukus, there was no Ili, there was no Allah. The Meiler also affects Amaretik and Nitzutzis in Welt, that Mitzad Zman Shlomo only Nitzutzis are Shaykhis to a Bittul. Mashiach in Lasid, even Azalch and Nitzutzis that have not Shaykhis to Bittul are also going to be affected. That's the first thing. So the Rebbe starts touching up. What do we say? At Parshas you say there's, let's say, 7 madrigas. The Parshas from looking at the way he brings the Lashon HaKabbalah. There's 7 madrigas in Malchus. There's Chabad, Chagas, till Malchus, and then Malchus of Malchus. So it's a shaila of Kamus. Bisman Shlomo Melech, the Gili only affected till the Pchinas HaYisod of Malchus. And Lashem Lasid Lavi, another darga lower. So you have the way you learn the Medrash, the beginning was Lagani. That Avraham Avinu was Mamshech, the first Rekiah, the second Rekiah, the third Rekiah, and then a Nachashlav Nidr Rekiah. So Al Derech said, the Mashma says, Shlomo Melech, the Allah was till Pchinas Yisod Sheva Malchus. Lost will even Malchus Sheva Malchus. So Rebbe is going to bring out here that it's a fundamental difference, Pchinas Yisod Sheva Malchus or Pchinas Malchus Sheva Malchus. Which that's the key to understand the was Bashteit Aflo of Lost. So within that context, that's exactly Geringer zu reden about when I get to this word of it itself being mashpia everywhere. Well, within this context. Rebbe sagt das. What were you holding? Oh. He said, the madrega of Hagili b'malchus rak b'tesfir sheba, v'ad l'bchinas yisay sheba. But not in malchus or malchus. The Rebbe linked to, and this is negir for the order, to prevent for a certain kasha. Either there's also a Gili in malchus the malchus, but that's only a yidishnichula b'yisay sheba. But basically, the Nekudas Advarim is that the Halah, the Gili Elokus that was Nimshach Bizman Shlomo Melech was only Meir until the Darga of Yisay sheba malchus. Which the Rebbe touches this. The Nekudas Advarim is Malchus the way he's in a state of bittul. Malchus the way he is in his own tzir, dort in the Nishtan, Erdin Sav Shema Mishach T'Shtashlis. Only Malchus, the way Malchus relates and has a Nekudah of a tnuah of Hergish HaMokir, a tnuah of a Shaykhis Tan Elyon. We'll see the pratim why Mitzad. So here we're getting into this discussion. Mitzad Erdin Sav was matish good at business there. Mitzad Erdin Sav Shel Malam Mishachas T'Shtashlis, even though he's Ein Sav in Emblikvol. But and the bitleil was starke bitleil, but wo can their line? Where is Ein Sof Meir? Which place could is a makom where there he reaches? Where is he misfashioned? So even though he's Ein Sof, on the Gabi Ein Sof, there's no gvul, but Afat became his only Meir in Malchus. The Malchus is a shaykhis to bitl. You search Malchus. There was going to touch up. Mashiach in Malchus Malchus. The Malchus is in his own tzir, not the way he's in a state of bitl. Dort in Rit Nishtan Ein Sof. He's like a blig gvul. And blikvol means that the definition of space of having a certain keli is not shaykhis they got by erin stuff, they got by blikvol. But after became his gili only reaches malchus, the malchus is a keli to an Indian shalamai leman. Without touching the pshat. You get to what?
Why did malchus blikvol?
Let's get into that. We'll see. But I understand what this means that it's only in Pchinas Yisay malchus. We'll see. Let's see push it inside and then we'll see. So das is when they get to the Yeshes HaKabbalah. Yeshes HaKabbalah, it touches up in the Mamer that the Gilui Bizman Shlomo was until Pchinas Yisod Sheba Malchus. Mashenkin in Malchus Sheba Malchus, that means Malchus K'meishi Bim Kaima, not to be Malchus a Shaykhis the Bittul. Not when you say just a pashta zach, just a taichab. Everything's later, but just the taichab you shouldn't just read reading, just the Kabbalah. But if you have a regular case, a Talmud Varav. We'll see later, perhaps, the Malchus. I'm just saying in the simple case. You have a Talmud Varav. So as they state that called Talmud, B'shas is being mekabel from Divrei Rav, called Talmud she'insiv says is made for Smer, so he's not a kid to the Kabbalah. B'shas is being mekabel. The Rav is higher than the Darga of the Talmud. B'shas the Talmud is mekabel from Divrei Rav. So in that mode, he's not supposed to be in a mode. In order for it to be mekabel v'yazarchas, he's not the what's mantzich is. He shouldn't be in a tnua that he's focused on his understanding. See, state whether what the Rav is saying is masim to his malach haseichel. At that moment, he's focused to hear what the Rav is saying. He's not munach in his own tzir then. You have someone that's now concentrating and focusing. What's the Rav saying? Then there's another focus. Then when your mayach is in a state of focusing and concentrating what the Rav is saying, then it's not nirgash your malach haseichel. How you look at things. Now you're focused on, you're concentrated to hear vas erzach. You're in a state of bittul at that time. You're not munach in your tzir and your mahalach. You're in a bittul. You're focused on to hear vad the Rav zok. Then there is the Talmud, the way not la'achlev says mekabel divrei Rav. He has to sit down and to process in his own as erz lalin. He should process what the Rav is saying. He should understand it through his kelim, in his malach haseichel. Then is nirgash his mitzias. So we're saying is there's malchus. You say shemalchus says the way malchus is natnu of bittul, not the way malchus is in his own tzir. So only when malchus is in a state of bittul, in that if an Erin Saf is married. So it doesn't mean Erin Saf is Ein Saf. It's not the pshat that malchus, the way it's in a state of bittul, is a keli Ein Saf. Malchus is a tzir prati. So we're dealing on with Ein Saf. We'll see the Hezbollah later. But even though we're dealing with an Erin which is Ein Saf, Afal became he's made in malchus only with malchus in the state of Kabbalah, of bittul, of a keli. Mashiach malchus, the way it's nirgash the tzir of malchus, dorten kommt the shtam Ein Saf. Dorten reached the shtam the Erin Saf is much better. Yeah, I'm saying business there is min b'teicheni, yeah? Not clear. Mamshel by Mamer that this chilik in the base of das steht nicht rein. Auf dem sagt der Rebbe was in einem base that the chilik between die zwei aliyahs, the malchus. Aliyah was Shlomo, which is till the beginning of Yisod the malchus, and aliyah zayin shti lost the malchus of malchus is not. That's also affects the benegeh to the nitzutzis in Welt. Who gam benegeh la nitzutzis shenaflu l'mata. That's the reason. So here the Rebbe starts off-touching. It's not the pshat lower or higher. That's what Rebbe wants to bring out now. We want to bring out that it's certain types of nitzutzis could be affected later in order to affect another type of nitzutzis, which is the shade that has to do with zayin the malchus. You need the etzim. It's not a vert avaiter blikvol. You need the etzim. If it's just a vert of kamos noch nidriker, so they say he brings the mashal of the abuka. A smaller lahav is meishech stronger nitzutzis. The stronger the abuka is, it's meishach nitzutzis shenisrachku. Weiter nitzutzis. Noch ein Zavat, and they gain weiter. So here the Rebbe wants to teach that it's not stam as a difference between another darga lower. Nitzutzis that were even distant in a lower way. It's a different sug in you. Let's see it here from the Rebbe. I'm going to zen from here. Here's a very important part. You say, what's the darga if you say the malchus? You say the nukvu is skashas amakabel b'mashpia. Malchus the malchus over there klal keich apel shebenifa. How's the Rebbe teach it? There is malchus the malchus is keich apel shebenifa. You have Sfiras HaMalchus is the Mokir HaMahaves Ha'elim. That's Sfiras HaMalchus, away from Klal. So you have the Mokir, the way there's two efanim in the Mokir. You have the Mokir the way it is in a state of being Mekabel from the Eir Shalom Aliman. If you look at there's Metzias Ha'elim. There's the Metzias Welt, Praise Hashem, Rakia, V'aretz, people, Elonis, and Tzmachim. Besides the Metzias, there's Gilei Lukusim Welt. Through Metzias Ha'elim, wird this Gale gewiss in Yana von Lukus. Because that's also Nimshach Welt through Malchus. But that is the way Malchus is in a state of Kabbalah, to be Mekabel as also, it should be Nimshach through her, the Eir Shalom Aliyah. That's Malchus, the way that it's Natsir of being Mekabel from Zoh. Then there is Malchus as the Mokra of being Mahavat the Metzias Aval. Keich HaPel Sheb'nifal is, we learn Mamer Chafei. Keich HaPel Sheb'nifal means he's not Eisen to express himself. That's not the focus. He's Eisen that there's a Mahavat Zanyen. The person is going to throw a stone. The Tnua is not that the Eir HaNefesh should be made to a further place. The Tnua is to deal with this stone, that this stone should fly. That's Keich HaPel Sheb'nifal. What's the Malchus, the Indian of Malchus, the way it is, as not the Tnua of the Aliyah of Malchus. The Malchus is not Tnua of Ashpal Lamata. The Indian of Malchus is to be a Keich HaPel, to be a Keich to affect the Nifal. That's his Indian. Not that a Lekush Shal Nimshach Veren Sanidrik Eraplatz. Fakir, to detach himself, so to speak, from the Indian of Gilei Lekus, and to be Mahava Mitzis. Keich HaPel B'Nifal. There's two different truths. There is Malchus as a Mekabel, as the one that through Malchus is Nimshach Eir Lekisha Lamayla from the Sfirish Lamayla in Vel, and there's Malchus as the one that's Mahavet the Nifal. In Yana is Uf Machnaval. Two different in Yana. And so here this, so the Bas Mezakt is that this is an important point. It says V'lachin B'mei Shlem Ashigil Malchus Eirak B'dargas HaMalchus K'mei Sheshayachis L'Zah Gam Ha'elod HaNitzutzis Shnofel Matis Rak B'esem HaNitzutzis Sheshayachem L'Hargish Eir Leki. Ulo Osid Lo V'Shagili Yi Gam B'dargas HaMalchus K'mei Shebib Yam B'ad Ha'chei Chapel Sheb'nifal Gam HaNitzutzis Shnesrach Kom Malchus. The Rebbe started to say Prat. But let me know protection is that. Saying the Pashta Eifin. Yeah, we have a Metzias of Welt, that's the Metzias of Welt is Gvul, that's it. And the Eibishter is Blikvul. Or the Eibishter is Ein Sof. So these are two different things. A Nivra Mugbal with Ein Sof are two separate things. How is it that Ein Sof is made in Welt? Or what? Ein Sof is not Mugbal. In other words, you have a Davar Mugbal, let's say Seichel. Seichel Lechatchila is only true within the realm of Seichel. The Eibishter is Ein Sof. So Mitzad Ein Sof, his inyan can be expressed through anything. I bring a mashal. That brings the Gabi Chafat just to bring out this point. That brings the Gabi Chayel. That brings that it was recorded in Talmidei Baal Shem Tov between the Chaverim and the Alter Rebbe, between the other Talmidei Amagid and the Alter Rebbe. Sie haben gehalten, was da für ein Bimaz Lukus and Seichel. Seichel sagt Bob. And Lukus is Pshitis, Lukus is Ein Sof. So one of the Biyurim, why do you need to have Seichel and Midas? Because it's true. It's a true tiny. The Eivish is Ein Sof, and Seichel and Midas. Seichel is Verstand. Verstand is a Metzias product. In of Tzir. The Eivish is Pshitis. Mit Afnem the Eivish with Mesiras Nefesh with Emunah. Now it's Seichel. So one of the things Alter Rebbe says is that what's the word if the Emunah the Mesiras Nefesh doesn't affect the person's Seichel, that shows that his Emunah his Mesiras Nefesh is Mugbal. What brings out the take if Abligvol of the Neshama that not only Siddha Emunah, but it also affects the Metzias, the Tzir. The fact that even in Seichel Leik Sech Lefi the Emes, that brings out the Blikvol of the Emunah. The Mogaherta that Rebbe brings such a beer. Remember such a beer in the Seichel of Chayel that Rebbe brings us. That one of the, and that's not the Uftat Alter Rebbe, but he brings that Tziminion. So there's a Shayla L'chura, the Eibishter is Ein Sof, and the way to relate to the Eibishter, what's in the Neshama? Neshama is Emunah Mesiras Nefesh. Wo fällt rein Seichel und Verstand dort? L'chura is never brought. The Teretz is, wie bringt sich heraus the take of Blikvol of the Neshama, that even when there's a Metzias of Seichel, he's also affected by the Eir Neshama. And he devotes himself to the Eibishter. That brings out the Blikvol of the Neshama. What I'm saying is, Alter doesn't speak about it when he gets, so a Seichel L'mosh, you can't say such a word. A person has a Svar. A Seichel is not Blikvol, it's limited. So Dartnuvu, a place where there's a Keli for Seichel, relates to Seichel. Mashik and a Makabo, which is not a Keli to Seichel, doesn't have it. In which is Blikvol, you say, and was Drikzeches is Blikvol, that even in a Tachton which is far from him, even something which is a Chorem Mitzat Tzir of Agbala, I don't see a connection, I don't see a relation between this Mitzias and the Eir. After became, it's that the Blikvol of the Eir, he reaches everywhere and affects everywhere. But what's the Pshat? In order, you're saying it affects everywhere, you have to bring out that there's a connection between the Mekabel and the Eir. The connection is not in the fact that they relate, that they're both Gvol. The connection is that through this Mekabel, Vetzchareis bring is I'm Blikvol. You understand what I'm saying? It means, if you look at Seichel as an image for itself, does that have a shaykhs to Munah Mesiras Nefesh? Does it have the shaykhs to the Neshama of a Yid, which is ready to give it? So Mesiras Nefesh and Nefesh, there's no connection. This is Tamas Akal Verstand, and this is a Munah in the Eivish, this is Mesiras Nefesh. If you look at Seichel just as a Metzias, there's no connection between. We were saying something else. There's an element of Seichel that it could bring out the Blikvol of the Neshama. We find that Seichel could be, not look at Seichel as a tzir for itself. Seichel as a way to bring out the Blikvol of the Neshama. In that light, the Neshama could be made in Seichel. So the Shaila is, according to that beer, what part of Seichel is being connected to the Neshama? The Metzias, the way Seichel is a Metzias of Natsmi, or the way Seichel is Tafel to a higher union? The way Seichel is Tafel to a higher union, not the way Seichel is a Tzir of Natsmi. You get what I'm saying?
So is it Seichel? So is it actual?
No, I'm saying that, and Pashas at the bottom. There's a function of learning Torah that's in Yiddishkeit. A person should also verstehen Gadas Hashem. What's the Indian in that? Since the Eivish is Pshitis, what's the Chshivas that a person should learn and understand? So that brings out the Teikaf HaNeshama. That brings out the Teikaf of a Yid, that even Kalter Seichel is also going to be devoted to the Eivish. But I'm saying is, with this beer, with what we have to link Seichel to the Ein Sof, to the Blikvol, to the Emunah of the Neshama. How do we link it? The tzir of seichel, the way it is an inyan for itself, that mode of seichel is connected to the bli gvul, or because we found a way that this mitzias also expresses Ein Sof. You understand what I'm saying? Ein Sof is bli gvul, and it reaches. What does it mean? It reaches everywhere. What does it mean that the Ein Sof is everywhere? That means mitzad the Ein Sof, everything could be used as an expression of it. Everything is really an expression of it. How is everything an expression? Because we can find in everything that there's a way where this thing expresses the bli gvul of the earth. But you look at the Mekabel, the way he is in his own tzir, his own mitzias, that has no connection to the bli gvul. The bli gvul doesn't reach. You understand what I'm saying? The same way you understand the Pashta. You have a Rav, which is, I'm trying to bring in the Gabi, the Musik of Ein Sof, the idea in general. What does the Rabbi bring? You have a Rav which has a seichel nifla b'yesir. You say a Talmud which is locked in his own way of looking at things, in his own halakha seichel. So there's no way that he's going to be a keli the Kabbalah to hear this word. If he's ready, he's open to hear something new. He has a tunu of bittul. Kenes meir zaman din. So you have so with mitzad, what is this mekabel a keli for the Rav? Because he has a tunu of bittul with himself. He's ready to elevate himself to something higher. But if he's going to be in his own tzir, mitzad his own tzir, he'll be detached from the Rav. So there's the Rebbe is saying mitzad all dargas of galuyim mitzad for that. Mitzad Ein Sof, you could even be mekarev the vites devot kind of mekarev zamet neighbors. Mitzad Ein Sof, mitzad but mitzad you're going to have to find the connection between the mitzias ha'olam to the That connection is going to have to be a musig of bittul, a certain musig of aliyah that you find in the neighbor. You hear the Indian? Mitzad if would be mitzad eres, mitzad the darga mukbeles. The Chatchila is only able to reach shechves in Elam HaYitzir. Midas the zakar only in Elam HaYitzir. In Elam Hazak can not come. Mitzad Ein Sof, even a nivra in Elam Hazak could express. Let's say in the Mashal of Emunah. Dafke mitzad the takeover of the neshama of a yid, even Kalta Seichel could become devoted to the Eibishter. Only something bli gvul has that to affect even Seichel. Means only the Ein Sof is able to find that even a nivra rachik b'yeser could express it, and could be we could use that nivra to bring out his bli gvul. But you can have to find a link between the nivra and the earth. But if a link means that you're finding some place in the nivra that he's not totally a tzir of a gvul, he could relate to bli gvul somehow. You understand what I'm saying? We have to find somewhere in the gvul, or in the, let's see, we're speaking about gvul and bli gvul. We have to find something in the mitzias of Welt that relates to an Eibishter. You could use zechveis ashtikol bread. You could use it in order to eat L'Shem Shemayim. So you're not. What are you being? You're being mechaber the piece of bread. How are you being mechaber the piece of bread? Because you're using it. You're not looking at the piece of bread as just a piece of flour. It's a way in order for something mechazik as That's called what aspect of the nivra are you? Not what aspect. In what way are you connected to the nivra telagos? By taking it out of its own personal regular tzir and by making it a keli to a higher inyan. So it's machas not the way machas is in its own tzir. The machas in a state of kabbalah of being a mekabel of zah. I heard the meaning. The ufla of Lasad Lavi is so that this galaver lekus not through that the Welt is going to become elevated. That the mitzias could be bottled to a hecher zah. Yet the mitzias was bleiben in zayin tzir. A table, a chair, they're going to stay in there. You're not going to have to change how you view a table. That a table is not stam mitzias of a table. It's a chetim to learn. Table's a table. And that guf is shaykhas talukas. Without elevating it, so to speak. The way the mitzias is in its own tzir, and that guf is shaykhas is the Eibishter Zazah. That's dafki mitzadet. You get the general gist of the Indian. Avada Ein Sof is Ein Sof, and he's bli gvul. But since he's bli gvul, he reaches everywhere. But what's the pshat he reaches everywhere? Because he's bli gvul, there's no limit to what could express his Indian. His Indian can be expressed through anything. A davar mukbol is only able to be in nirgash in a makom which is a keli for him. A mayach could be makabel seichel. Bli gvul, anything could express him. Because it's Ein Sof, anything could express him. But anything could express him. It means since he's now mukbol, any type of nivra could be used in order to bring out his taken, his air. But the only way to connect the nivra to him is by finding a connection between the nivra and him. But it means that seeing the nivra not in the light of stam it's a piece of bread or it's a table. It's something which has some type of relation. Is a result of Ein Bli Gvul. You could bring out Eibishter's Bli Gvul. Then you say, then there is the Metzias bleibt in sein eigener Tzir. And we're not connecting it to the Eibishter through that we bring out that this thing is able to express somehow the Elyon. Exactly the way you see the Metzias Ha'olam now. It's a table. And that's, there this is going to be a list. That's Dafka Mitzad Etz.
Seeing the Varavai in the Nivra.
Doesn't nish what the Rebbe read, because that's not, you see, there's a Metzias at table. Someone say, what's the gather of a table? Varavai? That's not the gather of a table. That's the emes. The emes is that the Metzias, that's also looking at the Metzias in a way, the way the Metzias is bottled. The way we look at a table is a table. The truth is, Veret gemacht Tisch. Not the I'm saying, who made the table? The Eibush had the Mashab. So one way of connecting the table to Likus is, don't look at the table Stamas that it's a Metzias, as like a Var Nazar. He was created by the Eibush. So you're being Mavatal it. If you look at the table Stamas Eviyat Tish, Hotanish Keshaychas Likus. A table is Stamas Eviyat Tish, as a Zach was Vashaving going from the Eibush. So you're connecting it to the Eibush. After they connect it. It's not Stamas Eviyat Zach. It's Vashaving Gavarn. It's Vashaving Nazar. With that, I can see that it can express the Likus. But what the Rebbe wants to connection over here is the table the way it's seen today in Elam Hazar. Frek Stamazeh Tish. Stamazeh table. There's no Indian. Stamazeh Tish. The looking at the table that way could also be there. Also could a Lukas be mayor or not? Stamazeh Amatzias Tish.
So the Alter Rebbe sees the Varavai in the Kreis.
That's nish what the Rebbe read. Nish what the Rebbe read. We'll see what the Rebbe read. That's what we'll see. We'll see the lashon inside. This is not so partial. I'm trying to touch what's the pshat. That mitzat Erin Sof, it's only the nivra the way is shaykh the hecheremi. There's a reason lashon nitzchayim that l'bashizman shleim amelech was only poil the aliyah the gilukus is nimshach till the darga vav. Mashiach another level darga. Darga vav is the tachten the way is shaykh to the aliyah. Malchus the way is shaykh to zov. Malchus is the tachten the way he is in his own tzir. Let's see the lashon. Just see the lashon again in the Mamer. V'ininu. This is. Was sagt das? Zeit geht das okay. Inenu. Die sei de nukfu hu iskash am kabel ba mashpia. Was mit iskash am kabel ba mashpia? You see the was sagt doch in your days where we say I did the toilet the mivla lepod. Steht das sagen? The miflat lepod, but there's also I did the mivla lepod. No, by a gola I think. That when you put the keli into the hot water, so Teza says you should why do you have to take it out because then the keli is going to be belea from the water. But Teza says that once the water is busy being belea, the plate from the keli, it's not going to pale it into the keli, the belea. No? I think it says that also. What I'm saying is, so you have the mekabel, the way he's in a state of kabbalah now. He's not focused now on his own seer. He's now you could use the nivra as something which expresses something higher. And that was mentioned. Mashik and Malchus the Malchus is what's Malchus the Malchus that are called is nicht der nifal, not the Vialakush state in a of expressing himself. Vialakush state in a true from Yerida. Mashpia is an aval. Keich apel benifal. What's the nyan of the Keich apel? Uf machan anifal. So what's in other words mitzad Malchus? What's the rakia? A rakia is a chetimtze to bring out the Eibush just Keich, or we're eisen to make a velt. Keich apel benifal haste. His kash dem kala mashpia haste that what's the mitzvah of velt in order to bring out Gadlus Hashem. Keich apel benifal is in of serious Malchus as a mashpia, as in a true of Yerida. In Yana is as a verna velt. And from that aspect, what's the mitzvah of velt? A velt. What's the rakia? Not something which was created by the Eibush. That's not the gather of rakia. The Eibush created there should be a mitzvah of rakia. It's a whole different mode. It's not another darga in kamos. It's darga svav nacha darga. It's a whole different Indian. There's with that klal. It's muchrach l'chorah din Yisrael. That's the Rebbe say. Every ashpa cannot go without Yisrael. If you want to connect a mekabel to a higher Indian, so the mekabel has to be in a state of kabbalah. He can't be monich in his own tzir. The Eibishter ain't safe. The Elam is gvul. Or gilei lukus and helam v'hester. How you can connect a velt to lukus? The velt has to be in a state of bittul. The same way any Talmud has to be kabbalah from the Rab, the Talmud has to be open to hear something new from the Rab. Ever bleibt in sein tzir, but er bleibt in sein tzir. So what's the pshat? You could have a ashpa, a gilei lukus and velt, without velt being in a tnu of aliyah. The Rebbe touches way it is in the you have to have the tzur and the verted though. Says b'meish la mashigil malchus hayrak v'dargas malchus mashiyach lezo gam ha'alod ani tzutz shenaflu lamata. V'yisarak v'esem ani tzutz shayachem lahargish ereliki. And this l'chara davar only nitzutz is saying the mashal. What's drawn to fire? When you have a strong abuka, it's meishich nitzutzes. But why is it meishich nitzutzes? It's meishich eir. It's meishich eish. So nitzutzes have a shaychus to eish. Nitzutzes have no shaychus to eish. So dust is not nimshach to fire. Fire is not keich hamshich to dust. Ein Sof is Ein Sof. It's but it's a certain inyan. It's it's gili. It has some type of definition. It's bligvol, it's amitis Ein Sof. Epis is like a visser inyan. It's meishach anything that has a shaykhis to that inyan. Mitzad, because the is Ein Sof, he could find the shaykhis in anything. But it has to be something that just begether to find the shaykhis. If it's not shaykhis lahargish eir l'ki, so how is it going to be nimshach? Something which cannot be margish eir l'ki. So how is eir ein seif, which in Yoni is eir ein seif, how is that going to connect to this? How does that have to do with this nivra? If the nivra has no contact at all with eir. So there it touches up. Lo asid lavi. What's going to be lo asid lavi? Shagili yegam bedargas amaras kameishi bibya. I mean, not the way Malchus is in a state of being bottled to the gilui of Malchus, the way he's being mahava veld. Va'ad lekech ha'poel shebenifal. So what's the Yamel? So the Rebbe says, Gam anitzutza shenisrach kum Malchus. Shalachein ein shayachem mitzad atzam lahargish eir leki. He should be margish an inyan shalamayli men as in shaychus. The Metzias, he cannot feel anything beyond it. Means you mean the marshal of Emunah with Seichel. You say, if Imtzu sagt Nashayl, the Tamidi Abashan to him geteinet, Seichel is Verstand. Was hat zu tun zu Emunah? See, through Seichel brings Charis to take a family. Yeah, but that's only if the Seichel is Shaykhis to bring out air. Through Seichel, come there to take a family. What if you have a Stamaz Yasvara? Nothing to do with Seichel Aliki. Stamaz learn studieren in the Welt. That doesn't bring out the bligvol in the neshama. So there, the Eir neshama come to standard. So the Rebbe is mamshich. Not only nitzushin esrachko, not only nitzutzis of head, and not only that there is no gidel because in these nitzutzis. I feel like nitzushin esrachko kolkach achem atzmam nasu kumeira. Nasu kumeira. Before the kumeira wasn't meant the Rebbe with Ra. There's the first target nitzutzis that there is no air. It's header. You have a table. A table has not the table as not l'achar. We're going to bring out that the table is really the Eibush doesn't have the table. That's the table. The way he is connected to something higher. He has a creator, but looking at it as an entity in itself. There's a statish. So you could say something else. Viva machan the table keli telakus. Ares bring in that it's only a chetimtza to learn. That you're not being mechaber the table kameshu b'tziyur. So there's an element in the table that's tamam mitzias fanatish. Can essence atish, not a chetimtza for learning. That's nitzutzah shenisrach kol legam, but it's not hepich. It's not that. That means not only that he's himself. You have a mitzias that he's himself. You ask him, is there an eibush there? It's not a part of the equation. He's himself. He's a table. He's a chair. That's nitzutzah shenisrach kol legamri, and not shaychus lagish. That's another thing. In Yoni is fakert. In Yoni is that there's his mitzias. He's menaget telebus. That's not sukumeira. Nitzutzah, the nitzutzah himself. A mitzias which says aniva avseid is only me and something which is machish and the is klippus. That's kenish alaver. But there are nitzutzis and israchku to the extent of that. Not only that there's a header, that they're not shaykhis to give the key. In Yonam is to be menaget talikus. This is the nitzutzis which are invested in klippus. That's not sukumeira. That's klippus namish. There's the nitzutzis which exist in these things. So they're also nasa kumeira. There is out there the dugma, it's a nitzel key, but it was nechshach legamri, and to the extent that he's mahava mitzias, not only was in a herzach nishtalikus, and he's snitchayches beim herzach likus. The first argument is that there's zero contact to the Eibishter. Then there is in Yoni is, but zero contact means ertrachnish like the Eibishter. So that's mitzias. So he's in. Then there is in Yoni is to deny an alien. That's right. No, that's out there. The clip itself is an isser. That's his hebech ratzon alien. That's kenish salver. That but there's the nitzutzis of the klippus that's kenyan salver. But the Chassidus brings, the Rebbe Shah brings this actually. The Chassidus brings the dogma of also from here that you learn chticha nas nevela. What's the chticha nas nevela? So you have stamazeh chtichas basar shchuta is not asr. It's heter. Chaylev is asr. But if you have a tipas chaylev shenafla lechaticha and there's no shishim lechaticha, so it becomes nation time becomes asr. Then how much do you need in the it's not sure but how much do you need in the then this chaticha falls into another tarvis. Wie viel darf man shishim against the tipas chaylev that fell into the chaticha or against the whole chaticha? I'm not going to test you.
It's not chaticha.
Huh?
It's not
Allah, the Rambam has the whole Chet is machlekes, but the certain things is deraisa, certain things derabanan. But mit afam kegen the ganze Chaticha. That's Chaticha nasen levela. But etzem the Chaticha is heter, shchut is heter. But because he became a carrier to Isser, so is nasik. He has the same din of Isser.
What's the difference of Piyam?
No, so there's nitzutzis, but etzem it's nitzalaki. Said etzem husi it's kedusha, but he became a mocker. He became the sibas hametzias of Ra. Nicht Ra. That's verstehen. I'm not saying, but he's not Ra. He's not nasik kemayra. His whole then it's a nitzalaki which kol inyani is ufhat na klippe. So he identifies himself, so to speak, with the klippe. You say, how do you understand chticha nasen nevela b'chlal?
Consider it as an Isur.
I understand, but the shchut is heter. Why do you have to be battle the plate of the heter? Good. The star musik. If this chaticha carries the iser, is a take shenish. You're not an innocent chaticha anymore. The fact that you have a chaticha setter that every dervis halter iser is a problem. It's aser b'achila.
Why in the Vedic stuff you're not able to bring up and the chaticha that becomes?
No, because that's heipach ratzonalien. That's your question. That's the Rebbe speaks in the sikha. That's shenana echav nishmet. That's fresh. That's a besandish. I'm saying anything which is heipach ratzonalien can be ma'ila, which is an iser and Torah. So the Eibush nicht gewollt die Sachen. Heipach holocaust. That's another discussion. I think I'm asking something else. That's not a shayla. That's a different shayla. That's in the sikha for nothing. I thought you're asking something else. So they're asking what's the difference between tzitzis and you're asking why this you could be mad, why this you can't be mad. That's your question. Okay, that's enough. Yeah. But you see what they're saying here. Gam heim is ali b'yochel b'kedusha. We say them is not only nitzutzis. Gam agashmi atzmi. Leira kan nitzutz shebei the gashmi itself. It means not an inin alaki. Not an inin alaki. Nitzutzis sof kol sof, they're be'etzim inin alaki, that they were yeded to such an extent that they're nesrachet the gami b'shoshin. Atishalim. You see, it's the hate. This is how you say from Mitzvah Mitzvah. It doesn't need the word to the Rebbe Mitzvah Mitzvah. They were saying Mitzvah Mitzvah is already a certain inyan that the Gashmi expresses. They were saying is the physical being itself. A shtickle doim. How could you? What is without it? You one way because I can connect it to the Eibishter. I'm going to find that this could serve a certain inyan. Then you're not connecting the Gashmi Asmi. Gashmi is not about an inyan. Gashmi is a physical piece of matter. If you're saying it could serve an inyan, you're already a content to this Gashmi. So you're connecting this Gashmi as a Gashmi as a lavush, a certain inyan, does come in Mechaber and the Nevish. But the Metzias of Gashmi itself. And the Rebbe says, not Stamel, Yi betachlis heißt Achtos Balakus. Ultimate one is with the Nevish. Ich gepasch die Werte. Da steht nicht nein Beis die Werte. Listen what the Rebbe says. This is the line that's an important line. This is Zeh Shagashmi Yaz betachlis heißt Achtos, Holoi rekomendation Ozi is Gal Lekeicha Lekisha Veshmahabe Ismael Yesh. That's what he asked before. Not because he's been this God, but what's the pshat? The fact that the Nivra Gashmi located Telekus is because it's Vetnes Galaver, but Etzem the Gashmi doesn't exist. But Etzem the Gashmi is Ayin Ve'efes. And his home is the Keichapel Benifal. Then how are you connecting the Gashmi to the Eibishter? Because Gashmi is connected to the Eibishter, or because Be'etzem it doesn't exist? You're being Mevatel. Saying Be'etzem it doesn't exist. Its home is the Keichapel. So at the end of the day, you're being kasha to the kus by making it a kid to the Kabbalah, by being mavatal, not the way it is in its own tzir. Gashmi, the way we experience it. It's Hagdarasi is a nivra of the Eibishter, or it's a mitzias table, a chair, you walk on earth. I'm saying a table, a davar Gashmi. Nothing. Any time you're being miyachad it, because that's what you're saying from Tzisam Atzmusay, das eichnish das. The Rabbi says we find a certain trait in Elam Hazeh, certain tnua that it's margish itself, that it came from whatever the biurim, a certain trait that is a dugma to Atzmos. That's not the gather of Gashmi. Gashmi is a thing, not an inyan, not a concept. A physical thing that you can touch. A concept that's not Gashmi Atzmi. If the way we're going to connect the Gashmi to the Elokus is, because we're going to find a certain trait in the Gashmi that reminds us of the Eibush there, that means the Indian, the way it is in its own seer, the way it is in its own, from its own point of view, the way it experiences itself, you can't connect it to the Eibishter. The Gashmi itself, this physical piece of matter itself, is he one with the Eibishter or not? See, water itself is not one with the Eibishter. Water as a bita of chesed, it brings out a certain musik of ashpa. So you're connecting water through mixing in that water represents a certain inyan, not the geshem itself.
Could the Gila Bleakville affect the Gashmi because of that Indian?
How could it affect? Mitzad the fact that Mamer is chesed.
Yeah.
Not mitzad Gashmi Atzmi.
Yeah.
Eretz Tzav means the Eretz Ein Tzav is able to read anything. Could express it. He could be expressed through everything. But he's a certain content, a certain Indian. So if you're saying that he reaches everywhere, that means that the everywhere relates to that Indian. Any Indian which has a certain Hagdara. So if you're saying that he reaches everywhere, the definition is going to be that everywhere could express it, could be behesim of him. But if he's not, so you're going to have to look at the Tachton in a certain mode. You get the Nivra, the mode of being a Makabel of that Indian, from that aspect we connect him to the Eibishter. But the Nivra, the way he is in his own Tzir. You understand what I'm saying? If I did I just want to bring out this point, a simple thing. You say that you're saying before Mitzvah Matzmuseh. You look at a table, you see Mitzvah Matzmuseh. What's a table itself? What's a table? What's a Davar Gashmi? A thing, matter, not a concept. You say, how could you connect? How is matter one with Eibishter? You say he created it. He created it means that you think you just see matter here. There's another aspect that you're missing. It was created. Once you bring in the fact that it's a creature, it was created, and there's a creator. But the musik of matter itself, it's not a part of its ingredient that it's a creature. The matter kameshu, the way it is, the way you experience it, as a thing. That mode itself, could you connect to the Eibishter or not? Is it not only connect? Is it one with the Eibishter or not?
Is it because there's an Indian and a key and everything, or is it because everything has a certain?
You're asking what's the beer?
The beer
or
by,
why not?
The beer by.
Why not?
Is it because everything has an Indian and a key? There's some Indian. It's
Oh, I'm saying because the you can't connect an alien to a tachted. You could only connect two things if there's a connection. So the Eir ain't safe. The Eir has a certain message. You have to say this tachton also relates to that message.
Is that message a message that's like a
in the Eliki. What's the question? We're dealing with Eir safe. But I'm trying to be not here. What I'm trying to bring it. I'm trying to say is if there's a certain element, that's a certain message. See, this message could reach everywhere. What does it mean? It could reach everywhere. It means everything could bring out this message. Everything could serve to this message. What about something that has no connection to messages? You cannot connect it. So that aspect of it, you can't connect it. You understand what I'm saying? The Rebbe is saying, also the word is, it's not the pshat that we're going to see another element in the Gashmi that we're not aware of now. Oh, you look at the Vel Stamaz Yisrael, but it's a creature, B'chla. As a creature, so as a creator, once you see that this thing is not just a thing for itself, but as a creator, I could find now a link to the Eibishter. Think, the Gashmi is me exactly the way it is now, a piece of matter. And the matter, K'maishu, Tachlis has Aftos Delgus. What I'm saying is, you say, you have a person. You see, one way of connecting the person to the Eibishter is, one way of being connecting something is, I'm trying to find a good dogma, but I'm saying even the way we look at I'm using the dogma of Seichel and Amunah because it brings out a little bit this. The Rebbe is master in a Sikha this word. If the one way of explaining the Chura Seichel, you say the Neshama is Pshitas, the Neshama is Ruchnis. Where does Seichel fall into the picture? That brings out the blik of the Neshama. So then, what do you need Seichel for? Seichel itself is not part of the Indian. Because Seichel is a way to bring out the blik of the Neshama. But Seichel itself is not an Indian. What the Rebbe is saying here is Seichel itself exactly the way you understood was Seichel. Don't connect Seichel to Blikvol. Seichel Kameshu. Not Seichel. You linked, you found the way that Seichel could express Blikvol. Look at Seichel the way it is as the thing for itself. The ability to understand. Is that one with the Eibishter or not? So how is that one with the Yid? A Yid's Mesiris Nefesh. Das ist Tam Verstand. Das hat sich Tam zu. How could you connect Seichel to Neshama? The Teretz is Seichel could be something which brings out the take of the Neshama. But now the only way you're mechaber seichel is you mixed in another aspect, not just seichel itself. Seichel is also a keli the kabbalah temun, but seichel the way it is in its own mitzvahs, verstand. It does ein zach mit neibishter. That the also the uftu is going to be that itself is one with the neibishter. It's a whole different union. I understand what the hezbollah is, but this is the. I had to go a little earlier today. We'll do the Vatam L'chozeh. Maher Tabas al-Dominion. Should we do the Tam? The Elam, the Herd Good, what the Nikud is? Because the Nikud has to be very clear. Because if not, you're not going to appreciate how it's going to be affected. But I'm saying, you have to understand how this Indian, mitzad, the regular hashpa me'elin the tachtan, even if the elin is blig vol, as that Indian can reside. Because by definition, if there's an alien that has some type of mode, and you want to connect the Tachten to that Elyon, by definition, the Tachten, Kameshu Tachten, there's no connection to the Elyon. I'm saying the Dugma of Seichel and Emunah. How are you going to connect the power to understand with Neshama V'Yidam Mesiras Nefesh? You're going to have to say somewhere that through Seichel I could have it connects to Mesiras Nefesh. But don't make Mesiras Nefesh your Seichel itself. Is that in Eloki? What does Seichel to do with the Nebishter? With Emunah Mesiras Nefesh? What I'm saying is, Bizman Shlomo Melech, Stamazay, we can, everything was meant, it was in Zgal and everything that really, nothing is just the way, nothing is the way it looks. Truth is, everything is connected to Hamakir. You see a Welt, it's not Stam Welt, it's a Welt that the Eibishter Bashach. Reish is Bar Elikim. The Keichab, there's not, you see a Nifal over here, there's no Nifal. There's an Eibishter which created this Nifal. From the world as a creation, so then it's linked to a creator. But we experience the world not as something that has the truth is that there's a creator. We're talking about what type of Metzias is it? How do we experience a Metzias? That it's a result of an Eivishter or it's a Metzias? There's a table, it's a chair, a Davar Gashmi. Is that this out of the Lukus or not? The Uftu Lashon Lavi is that not Malchus, not the Dargava, not the way Malchus is a Keli Lekabbalah, not the way Malchus is Shayches to Hamakir. The way Malchus is in his own tzir. Means the way the Nivra is, the Gashmi is not. This word doesn't say Mufurish Naim Beis, this word, by the way. But the Rebbe says here that Hagashmi Atzmi Yi V'Tachas Eisachtos Lo Yirdak Mipnei She'oz Yizgal L'Keichel L'Kishiba. Not because there'll be Nizgal, there's a Mahaver. So how are you linking the Tachton to Lukus? Because really this Tachton is a Makabel. The Gashmi is not a Messias for itself. It's really it's something which is created. It means it has a creator. But Uftu is Gama Nifal Atzmi. The mode of the Tachton, the way he is in his own seer. And that's going to be the Tachlis Ha'isachtos. What Tachlis Ha'isachtos means not just we're going to find it. It's going to be fully one. Ultimately, how do you say it, Tachlis? Absolutely one with the Eibishter.
But that same concern is also in every other dark, yeah? The same concern that we have Mitzad air, that's not Mitzad Ilu, Mitzad Atzu, it's only because the alien is being connected to that's in every dark.
Tak is it. Verkehrt. Even in Ein Sof. The Uftu of Ein Sof is that since he's Blik Vol, anything could express him. That's something else. I'm saying that's the Mashal of Amunah. Because Mitzad Teikef Amunah, Mitzad Teikef Neshama, he's able to affect Seichel too. He's not Mugbal. He's not Mugbal, but what's the pshat? He's not Mugbal. So his Inyan could be everywhere. What does it mean his Inyan could be everywhere? Amunah can be found everywhere. That means you could link everything with Amunah. Here's everything, not you can link everything with a higher Inyan. Everything will stay in its own phase exactly the way it is. And that gufa is b'tachas ha'saktis talukus.
Are you able to show a yachas between Ern Seif and Shosh K'Zatmeis?
No, that's a besonder shmuz.
Saying even not all Shosh K'Zatmeis.
No, the Shosh is a different story. Klippus itself is a different Indian. They're speaking about the nitzut shmuz klippus. That's a besonder shmuz. It's not negate to this. It's a separate Indian. The whole whether you can be mad at klippus or not. It's a different topic. And it's nothing to do with this saying it's a side take a shayla.
Just trying to understand, is that only the difference between Kol Dechech Kol Ma'aseh L'Shemaim, or
No, it's nothing to do with this Indian. That's another Indian with the Rebbe Rada. Kol Dechech was different targets. Usually Kol Dechech could be Keichel Bel Benifal. A Yid Zed Vel, there's Zed, what's the Metzias, as in how going from the Meibishter. The regular Kol Dechech doesn't bring out what the Rebbe is saying here. Kol Dechech just means there's one way of using everything for the Eibush, one way of seeing Lakus and everything. But how do you see Lakus and everything? So because you could look at everything as a Keli de Kabbalah. You could see every Metzias as a Keli de Kabbalah to Lakus. Here the Rebbe is saying the Gashmi Atzim. Not else Keli de Kabbalah. The Gashmi Alein. Different Indian.
Why is there an Aveda there of Tachtenim?
We'll see the Pratim. We'll see the Pratim. This doesn't exclude other. No. This is an important point, but also the beer, the fizeh, the beer, how the etzem is pearl has to be a whole different beer. You can't just say that because he's blik vol, he's going to be reached everywhere. That's not going to help. He's blik vol, so you can find his inyan even in a further place. That's not what then it's again the way the tachtim is a kid of the kabbalah. You get to put the Nekudas Hadvarim. Good, Metas Mamshas, we'll continue with Sunday. And then give us the
first idea.
No, I'm saying that. I'm saying. What did I was saying here? We'll have to see what the pshat is.
So we think they'll be in the habit build.
So we have to
bring, not just to give us shit.
But the Rebbe wrote around the Mamer the Sikha Shabbos, when the Rebbe came out to Shabbos Vayeshev, Tafshin Beis, the Rebbe read this Indian also by the Fabringen. That using out the tchunas of the place that you go. The Rebbe spoke Tzarfas Bigamatri Paratzta. Not that bring to Parasta to Tzarfas. Tzarfas Alin Bigamatri Paratzta. The Rebbe spoke by Amshad Risi. Not that what's Tzarfas? Same words as Parasta. It's not that you say Paris is a place that we could bring a higher Inyan that should be nisgalu through there. Look at it itself. What's it itself? It itself is that. But we'll see the Prat. That's not just a person.